Our next guest is no stranger to CBS 8's book club. She joined us last year to talk about her debut novel, Eleanor of Avignon, that has now over 4,000 five-star reviews on Goodreads. She's back this morning to talk about her sophomore novel, The Whitechapel Full Moon Society, which is out today, launch day. Elizabeth, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for joining me on launch day. This is great.
Of course. As soon as I found out that we could have you on launch day, I was like, that's such a huge accomplishment. How does it feel like today, launch day, versus your debut novel?
Well, my debut novel came out on election day.
Okay,
so
a little
it is
different.
Much less stressful today. I was in the morning commute listening to music, not checking the news.
Right.
It was great. No, it feels really, really good. I'm super excited. We have an event coming up on Thursday. I was able to go to the KPBS Book Festival this weekend where they had copies of the book for sale. It was really, really exciting. So it feels like more and more people are finding this novel, and it's exciting to start to talk about it with them.
I don't do a lot of historical fiction, and when I read Eleanor, I was like, oh, maybe this is a genre that I just never knew was like just so enthralling. I feel like you do the same thing in Whitechapel Full Moon Society. I think the difference, though, is that you add a little bit of a twist to it. It's not just historical. The fiction leans heavily into kind of the like supernatural fiction, right? Tell us about just what the plot line and introduce us to Caroline Foster.
Yes, so this novel follows Caroline Foster, who's recently been orphaned and searching for her missing brother, Charlie. She goes to London. She goes to the East End neighborhood of Whitechapel, which was notoriously dangerous and gritty. Yeah. And she goes searching for him at his last known address, which is the Whitechapel Full Moon Society, which is a men's boarding house. And when she gets there, her brother's not there. But she has a sensation that the people who live at the boarding house know a little bit more about Charlie's disappearance than they're letting on.
She ends up being able to become a maid there, helping out with the food, with cleaning and everything. And yeah, while there, it seems like people are hiding things that she doesn't know about. Tell us about how the inspiration came about for this book. When did you start writing it?
I had the inspiration for this book. I was at a dinner party, and it was after Eleanor published, and somebody said to me, "What are you going to work on next?" And I opened my mouth and I said, "What if Jack the Ripper was a werewolf?"
It literally is so funny because I didn't know a lot about Jack the Ripper, and I was driving with my boyfriend and I was telling him I'm reading this new book. And he was like, I want to look up Jack the Ripper. He looks it up and he's like, Jack the Ripper, blah, 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 in Whitechapel, London. And I was like, wait, so these are all, like, so much of it really is true to the historical accuracy.
Yes, and many of the chapters actually start with newspaper articles from Victorian England that are snatched right from the record.
So those are real writings from who people think is Jack the Ripper. There's a lot of debate as to who he was, or this kind of mythical creature, but it kind of lends itself to the the supernatural angle, right?
Right. So Jack the Ripper is somebody who, he was never caught, and the Victorian press, and then even till today, we've sort of painted him as this larger-than-life, like genius, serial killer. How did he get it? How did he get away with it? And one of the things that we've really lost touch with is the fact that he killed 5 women. And at the time, the Victorian press painted them as sex workers, but there's only evidence that 2 of the 5 ever engaged in sex work. All of them except for 1 was in her 40s or older, and they were all killed while sleeping. So this book tries to give more agency and more power back to the victims of Jack the Ripper. And yes, of course, there is a focus on who's committing the murders and is it connected to the mystery at the heart of the boarding house. But it also tries to elevate the stories of some of the women who were murdered.
You've got an event coming up in San Diego on Thursday, right? Tell us about what's going to be going on.
Library shop, Thursday, 6:30. Get there early. Parking is a little bit of a beast in Mission Hills, as you know. It's going to be me and Julia Dixon-Evans, who's one of the KPBS arts reporters, talking about this novel for an hour. I'm going to bring lemonade. I've got a bunch of cookies with full moons on them. It's going to be so much fun. Please join us.
I feel like there's like a separation between when you're writing it and when you're putting it out. And then now that it is out, it is like, it's almost no longer yours anymore. It is out to everyone. Everyone can read it. I think that's a mix of like super exciting and maybe a little terrifying. Yes. How do you feel?
I feel excited and a little terrified. Exactly.
It's perfect. Elizabeth, thank you for being with us this morning once again. You can go grab a copy today, give it a review. I'm reading it right now. It's just so phenomenal, and I love it. So thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Evan.
All right, quick break in store. We'll be right back after this. Stay with us.